special guest today, a guy that has given me a lot of buckets over my career. He has played in the NBA multiple years. He's played overseas. Now he's with Fenerbahce EuroLeague team, which is one of the best teams in Europe. I'd like to welcome Lorenzo Brown.
Scott Wood, man. Thanks for having me on, bro.
No, it's a blast. So I basically put out a tweet saying to all Wolfpack Nation, I'm like, who do you want to see on the show? And the two people that kept coming back was Lorenzo Brown and Richard Howe. So it came down to the fans. You got to give the fans what they want. So everybody wanted to hear from Lorenzo Brown.
It's good I still have that love circulating around there, man. That's a special meaning for me right there.
Yep. Hey, we went to a Sweet 16. I mean, I'm sure they're going to remember us for a little while. So that's what matters. So let's kind of dive into it. What I ask everybody when I come on, just say, hey, just give us the follow-up. So you're after you leave NC State, kind of give us the rundown, the timeline of what all you've been doing since then.
Oh, man, it's been a crazy and amazing journey for me, man. Wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly. So after I left state, entered the draft. The draft was an amazing experience. I was drafted 52nd by the Timberwolves. And just been a lot of ups and downs, man. Was cut from the Timberwolves that season because, as a second round draft pick, you have to actually try out for the team still.
Yeah.
And I was cut after the tryout and went to the DLeague. And I was in the DLeague for the training camp and got a call from my agent and I signed a deal with the 76ers, a 1-year deal with those guys. So it was kind of like a blessing, you know what I mean? Because I got to be on a young team. They had a great young team that year, but the team wasn't, as polished. We had the worst record in like NBA history or something like that. But it was still cool to like experience that whole NBA lifestyle, man. So, man, I was up and down the NBA, man. I had a D-League and NBA, and then D-League, NBA. So it was just kind of like a little wishy-washy at first, you know what I mean? Played in China for like a year, probably at like 3 years after the NBA and D-League stints. Played in China for a year and went back to the D-League and played with the 905 Raptors. That year, I won MVP of the D-League, and I was able to sign a deal with the Toronto Raptors the following year. So I was on the two-way with the 905 Raptors that year. So with the two-way, you go back and forth with the NBA and the D-League. And I performed that year, man. I did my thing and got the MVP. And the next year I signed a 1-year deal. And I was on that championship team with the Raptors, which was an amazing experience, man. A bunch of girls, probably the best time I've had in the NBA.
Yeah.
As a player, because the great group of guys, Canada was a great country. And now, man, I did my first EuroLeague team last year with the Serbian team, Red Star.
Yeah.
Great country as well, man. A great experience for me. And this year is my second year in the EuroLeague, man, with another great team, another great country with Fenerbahce in Turkey.
Yep. So we're going to touch on some of that professional side because you've experienced it all. So you're going to have, you'll be able to compare all those. So let's kind of go back to the high school days. So it originally was me, you, I think it was Richard, I want to say Jordan Vandenberg, and maybe Josh Davis.
Was Deshaun on that as well?
Deshaun was on that as well. Yeah. So we had that class coming in, and then you ended up having to reclassify. Kind of take us through, that situation there, and kind of talk about even if you want to go into like your recruiting process, like what decisions were you thinking? Was NC State the definite? Did you have other guys that you're like, man, this would be hard to not take? Kind of go through that whole process.
Yeah, man. So I really didn't. I knew who you were. Like I just knew you were a great shooter. So I was like, oh, this guy Scott Wood's coming. And I had played against Deshaun and AAU. And obviously, me and Rich are from the same area in Georgia. So me and Rich been playing together for a while. And I mean, that was played a big part as well. And my guy, Coach Harris was back and forth.
Yeah.
And from Atlanta to North Carolina, he was doing this thing recruiting, man. He was doing this thing recruiting. And I had a mishap in school, man. So you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And I had to do a year at Hargrave. So, I mean, Hargrave was different situation.
Yeah.
Very different. But it was honestly Coach Harris's idea because he knew Coach Keatts was there.
Yeah.
And at state now. So big ups to Coach Keatts too. Coach Keatts was there in Hargrave Military School, all boys. And I still remember my first day at Hargrave. My mom dropped me off, and it was just the football players there, the PGs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're called, the older guys, the older kids. We had our own little section, the PG section, and I had to take my luggage up to my room because the elevator was broke. It was 180 steps. I counted these steps because I was there for that long. 180 steps, take all my luggage up there. And when I first walked in, everybody's screaming like, new guy. I'm like, yo, is this prison? You know what I mean? Because everybody's wearing the same thing and just screaming and hollering, just banging on stuff. And it just, the place was old, but it was a good time though, man. I had a great time. Basketball was the number one priority.
Yeah.
It's because only thing we had to do was play basketball there. But Keatts was amazing, man. Had Coach Hamilton and Coach Siddle. I think Coach Siddle was at State for a while.
Maybe. Yeah, Coach Siddle was with him. Just took the UNCW job this following year. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Good guys, man. We used to kill it in 3-on-3 all the time. You can ask them about it. They remember.
So that Hargrave situation, obviously you were under, Coach Keatts, and you mentioned Coach Siddle, who now, is the head coach at UNCW. How did that, really make you a better player, for the year? Because obviously you expected, that was going to be your freshman year at NC State. But, you'll have a little, step back, whatever you want to call it. How did that develop you, going into your freshman year at State?
So it developed me we played against college guys. It wasn't, I guess, the best teams, but it was just like I don't know how to explain it. It was a little weird situation, but
yeah,
played against JUCO teams and I don't know if they were rec squads. I don't know what was going on, but the JUCO teams were probably the best teams we played, and we played against some other prep schools as well with some of the top ranked players in the world.
Yeah. So
it kind of put me in a physical state, and also my mentality was to be better.
Yeah.
That's always my mentality as a player, to be better and to be better the next year.
Yeah. So obviously it was easy, because anytime you're playing, not necessarily, you played high school teams, but you're playing, that different level is almost like a good bridge taking you into your freshman year. So you come in your freshman year, and that was the year we had CJ come in. That would have been Ryan Harrow. Was Tyler Harrison? Tyler Harris was the year after.
I was the year after that, yeah.
Year after. But one of the best recruiting classes, to come through in a while. Kind of talk about that, because obviously you came in your freshman year and I think you started all but maybe 3 games.
Right.
Kind of talk about that freshman year. Obviously, we didn't play up to what our standards wanted to be because we thought we were going to be better. But kind of talk about that freshman year, just getting acclimated to the college lifestyle and your style of play.
So the freshman year, like you said, man, it was crazy. I have one memory from my freshman year that I will never forget. I don't know what happened that day, but we got in trouble. And got in trouble. We had to go to that field. It was
rolling.
We rolled. Bro, I was sick the whole day. I couldn't even go to class. I was like, bro, what is this? The grass was wet. We had to roll down the hill, then bear crawl. Was it backwards, I think?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So I think it was roll. We had to roll 50 yards, and then we had to bear crawl. But I'm gonna call him out. I think it was because of CJ Leslie is why I'm willing to call him out for that. But anyways, the backstory, we got in trouble, and Coach Lowe's all right, I don't know, 5:30 or 6. It was dark. I mean, he said we're gonna meet at the intramural field, so we knew right away we was in trouble. This is not what we normally do, and And I was having fun. Like I was like going as fast as I could, having a little bit of fun. And then, probably about 3 hours later, all of a sudden I was broken out because they had just sprayed the chemicals on the grass.
Itching and all type of nonsense, man. Yeah. Man.
And that was the last time we rolled because I think it was Holloman was our athletic trainer at the time. Holloman told him, he's like, listen, they sprayed too much stuff on the grass. Like we got to go to a track or something. We can't do the discipline on the grass because everybody's breaking out and all this stuff.
I got Ryan, man. Thank you, Ryan, for that. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the good memories, especially with Coach Lowe. So then we go through a coaching change, which, is never easy. But kind of talk about that because you knew Coach Gottfried a little bit. He did a little bit of recruiting because that's one of the things I remember. I didn't know who Coach Gottfried was, and you were the first one that came to me and said, hey, I know him. He's going to be good. He's going to be all right. Like this is a guy that can kind of get us on the right path. Kind of talk that process and kind of what you were thinking when that change happened.
So yeah, man, when Gottfried came, it was kind of like a weird situation because you had our same team, but you had Tracy leaving and going to intern draft. And you had, like you said, you had Tyler. That's what you heard. Tyler Harris came, and we had Jaquan Raymond.
Yeah.
And who else was there? I'm not. We had got Thomas DeThay. We had got
Thomas. Yeah, Thomas.
Yeah. So and then we had Ryan. Ryan had left. Ryan Harrell had just left.
Yep.
And so he wanted me to be the point guard, and I was like, "You sure?" Like, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't like a point guard at the time, but I mean, I guess he had his trust in me, and the team believed in me as well, and we just had the right pieces that year, and we clicked immediately as soon as the season started. I guess Gottfried had his offense set. It was the perfect offense for a college team,
especially with our style, and we fit. Because all of our bigs were mobile. They could handle the ball a little bit. They were able to do so many different things. But I agree with you. It just kind of meshed and worked well. So my next question is: so since he brought you to the point guard position, have you played anything but point guard since that day he called you in his office and said, "Hey, you're going to be point guard"?
I haven't played anything but point guard since that.
See, so it was a blessing.
Yeah, it was a blessing.
You'd have never guessed the change you needed was to go to point guard. But I can tell you, I'm glad he called you in his office that day because it resulted in a lot of assists for me.
Nah, thanks, man. You got me the assist, bro. Honestly, Rich was a monster. He lost all that weight. Remember that too?
Yep. He, honestly, I tell everybody between you and Rich, I owe Rich a lot too because all the screens he set. And then if anybody helped out on me, you just threw the little slip pass to him. So, Rich created a lot of stuff that obviously basketball people we see during the game, but a lot of like fans and stuff don't realize the dirty work that he actually did that created so much stuff, to open it up for us.
That was great times, man. I still remember those. I still think about those days and watch some of the highlights as well, man. We put on a show that year for sure.
Yeah, I could tell you when I had a few down days overseas where I might have felt like I was in a slump, I would just watch a little bit of highlights, watch some film, and just be like, man, we done this before, man. This ain't nothing new.
Nothing new.
All right, so let's go into that year in Toronto. So you were the DLeague MVP. You said one of the best years that you've had professionally. You end up getting a ring, which I need to call Golden State because I got cut by Golden State, so I feel like I should have gotten a ring that year.
I didn't get a ring. That's what I didn't tell you. I didn't get a ring because I was cut. I was cut as well that year. So I was cut in maybe February or something like that. So as the year went on, they won. Obviously, you know what I mean. They won.
Yeah.
But we were looking online or something like that, and I think it was Instagram, and it was like, oh yeah, the guys that were cut, because it was like a couple of guys that were cut like mid-season, and they were like, the guys that were cut are getting rings as well. And I'm sitting, I think I was in China. I was like, hell yeah, I'm getting like, I ain't got to do it. I just sit in China, play ball, and get a ring. Cool. But it come to that. But you still gotta you got to praise those guys, man, because they did a great job out there, man.
Yeah, no, that's one of the best teams, the NBA's seen in a while. So while you were in Toronto, obviously you mentioned being in Canada. Jerry Stackhouse was the coach, right?
He was.
So what was that like having Stack as your coach that year?
Man, love Stackhouse, man. Great dude all around. He's a real guy.
Yeah.
Real guy, man. So he lets you know the deal right away.
Yeah.
Defensively, that's what his mindset was. You're gonna play defense, and then the rest of it'll come. You know what I mean? And he put the ball in my hands, and the rest was history. We had another Carolina guy on our team, Kennedy Meeks, man. Shout out to Kennedy, great dude, man.
Yeah, that's so my only Jerry Stackhouse memory was the year I was in that D-League 3-point contest, and we were all they're about ready to just announce us and bring us out, and just Stack just walks like through all the shooters, just walks through all the shooters, and he looks at me and points and he says, "Hey, I got this guy winning," and just walks off. That's all he said. He said, "I got this guy winning."
He's probably seen some of them state games, man.
So I knew at that moment I couldn't let him down, man. I can't let an NBA legend down for that. So let's kind of talk some of that, the professional level. Obviously, I just did training camp with Golden State, and then I did the D-League. So I have a little bit of that experience. And then going back overseas, kind of talk the differences that you've and the challenges it is to, maybe bouncing from a D-League or G-League team, whatever they want to call it now, to an NBA team, and then, to a EuroLeague team. Because obviously, in my experience, they're all completely different. So kind of touch on that a little bit and that adjustment.
For sure. Like you said, they're all different. D-League is different from the NBA. NBA is different from EuroLeague. I feel like I think EuroLeague is more of overseas is more of college basketball.
Exactly.
Smarter and more physical players. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You have guys over here that will throw a full court bounce pass and it will connect right away. Like I have guys on my team that will do that as well. So it's pretty amazing, man. But I mean, D-League is it's kind of the NBA, but it's nowhere near it. When you get that court, the NBA, you're gonna know immediately.
Yeah.
You got guys or point guards that's 6'6", 210, more you've ever seen, more of you've ever seen in your life. So I mean, they get the big bucks for a reason. I could tell you that. Yeah.
And my experience with the year I was in the D-League, the kind of way I explained it was it was high talent, but it was 5 individuals on the court, not necessarily for the same goal, but for trying to get that call up. Right. So it was a little bit different. And I know obviously your team was unique because I mean Stack got y'all to play for a championship, and that's one of the things and I think that's one of the things too, like Gottfried said with our group, because I remember him going on the board and he showed, I think it was the whole first round, all the draft picks. And I think every single one of them made the tournament. And so that's like, we all looked at each other and we're like, well, this is easy. So you telling me we win, we're all going to get looks?
Right.
So that's one of the things that I remember, especially with the D-League. It was just kind of not necessarily every man for themselves, but it was just kind of like everybody's trying to play to get noticed. And then obviously, like you said, overseas is that very kind of college style, very physical. I mean, you got just some bruisers there that look like trust me, if Europe had American football, there'd be a lot of American football players coming out of there. So have you liked Istanbul?
I love it, man. I mean, I haven't really got to experience the whole lifestyle because we're on like a lockdown and curfew and all that stuff. But I mean, hopefully this COVID thing calms down pretty soon, man. This vaccine or whatever's going on, hopefully it works.
Yeah.
And y'all can get back to our regular lifestyles. But I mean, from right now, man, it's great. I have a great team. Mm-hmm. The people around here are great. You don't get bothered as much unless they know, like, oh, you're a basketball player, you play for Fenerbahce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like a college feel. Like the fans are amazing. Like they're in your DMs, like rooting on, they're bashing you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's a good feeling, man. But you know how it is.
Yeah, for sure. So here's my story. So I think it was Karjaka. So when I signed to play in Karjaka, and all of a sudden my coach at Karjaka, this is before I reported to Turkey, calls me and be like, "Do you know who Lorenzo Brown is?" I said, "Yeah, I know who Lorenzo is. I mean, he's my point guard." He's like, "Is he any good?" And I'm like, "Are y'all trying to sign him? Because if you are, I'll get a hold of him."
Hit me up and ask me about this.
Listen, so I got a couple recruiting fails. One's Ryan Kelly. I tried to get Ryan Kelly to come to state. He ended up going to Duke. And my second one is you, because I tried to recruit you to Karjaka and it got turned down. So I'm 0 for 2 recruiting. So I may never end up recruiting again.
Yeah, listen to you, man. I'm back in Turkey though. I'm out here now.
And Karjaka's got a good team.
They do.
They're playing well. So all right, let's kind of get into just a few like goofy questions. You can have as much fun with it as you want. So what was your favorite memory in an NC State uniform?
My favorite memory. Okay, I gotta think about that one, man. It's a lot. Okay, so I remember one day in practice, Coach Gottfried told CJ to get out of the gym.
Okay.
And he threw his jersey in the air, and I remember his jersey going up like this, and he was just walking off as his jersey. It was like a movie. It was like slow motion. I still remember laughing at that, bro. That was
out of all my NC State memories, that's a great memory. There you go. So the next question, your favorite place to eat on like the Hillsboro Western area or on campus? Like what was your go-to place?
I was in Cookout.
Cookout?
Yes.
That's my first. Hey, listen, I've had Emilio's, I've had Clues, Sammy's.
Is amazing. Sammy's is amazing, but that late night when you're in a resort and it's like 1:12 or something like that, Cookout is the go-to place.
I can't disagree with that. So lastly, before we let you go back, because I know you got a busy schedule over there. Let me think how to word this. What do you miss most about being, on campus, being, a student athlete? What do you miss most about those days?
Man, everything, honestly, because we had a great lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
College you just walk across the street to school. Yeah, people greeting you like you were superstars in there, man.
Yeah.
Just the whole team atmosphere. And another, I guess, go back to your first question, man. I still remember the day we made it to the Sweet 16, and we drove into the practice arena, and everyone was out there.
Yeah.
It was like a party out there, man. So that whole feeling to have people praise you like that and greet you with such a welcoming feel, man. It was amazing. So I mean, I just whole concept of college, man.
Yeah. All right. I lied. So that's not my last question, because I thought of another one. So I know you haven't been able to watch, all the games, but you've been able to follow the box scores. What do you kind of expect, because you've had Coach Keatts. What do you expect, for him moving forward, what he is going to try to do with the program?
Oh, from what I know about Keatts, man, he's a fighter.
Yeah.
Going to back down from any challenges that come across his table. I mean, he's building his team. It's going to take time. Just like my team, we were losing, and now we went a 9-game win streak. So it's a long season. So you never know what's going to happen at the end of the story, man.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of Wolfpack fans want to hear, is that he's going to keep fighting, even though we lost Devin and all that stuff, and they had a tough stretch. He's going to keep fighting to try and get this team back on. Well, I appreciate you coming on. You're the first one that I've had from overseas, so you're the first one across the pond that has come on. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all the assists. When you get back home, we're gonna have to meet up. I keep telling everybody I'm gonna do a better job, especially that I'm home now. Reconnecting with everybody. Getting in touch with Rich, CJ Leslie, William. So when everybody gets back, we're gonna have a big get together and hang out and do something.
Have to, bro. That'd be amazing.
Yep. So you keep grinding, man. Keep getting after it. Hopefully you and Fenerbahce can end up at the top of the EuroLeague at the end of the year, and then hopefully you can sign back at even better, even get back over towards this side so I can watch you in the NBA.
Oh, man, that'll be a blessing, man. I appreciate it, Scott.
All right, man. Everybody, please like, subscribe, do all those fun things. Thank you to Lorenzo coming on, and go Pack.
Go Pack.